I just want to say yoga can be for everyone. However, it is your responsibility to determine if you are ready and able to perform this workout video. If you or a family member have a history of heart disease, high blood pressure, or are obese with any physical or medical condition that could be aggravated by a physical activity, please consult a physician before proceeding. If you are pregnant, also consider consulting a physician. If you have any history of injury such as neck, back, shoulder, or knee, please proceed with caution and stop immediately if you feel any pain, lightheadedness, or nausea. The user assumes all risks. Thanks, and I'll see you on the mat. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Connection Yoga and our series of pose breakdowns. I'm excited to continue with one of the most beneficial overall enriching poses in yoga. You may or may not have done that pose, and that's okay. I just invite you to enter this with an open mind, open to new suggestions of what this might look like or how to do it at all. So the pose we are doing today is called bridge pose. So it is a symmetrical supine pose with an inversion in it. What an inversion is any time our heart is above our head. So a forward fold is technically an inversion, but these can increase in difficulty all the way up to handstands, headstands, forearm stands, and so on. But it does not have to be that difficult. You can do an inversion simply in bridge pose and take in all these amazing benefits. So what we kind of know about why inversions kind of work come from a little bit of different places, being biomechanics and a little bit of case studies with people and that sort of thing, but they all kind of point to one principle of why inversions are doing something to us. And that is because we are upending our relationship to gravity. So we are turning our upside down, fighting gravity in a different way with our upper body, okay? So I'm gonna give you a little bit of lesson here, so stay with me. Gravity is slowly pulling us down. It slowly weighs us down and our bodies, forcing our heart to pump through a vast network of veins. Your bodies are incredible and your heart works so hard for you. And over a lifetime, that can, it takes its toll eventually. And one thing that we can do to help our heart and our circulatory system is do inversions. So by being in inversion for simply 3 to 5 minutes, our blood will drain all the way back to our heart, and our tissue fluids will flow more efficiently in our veins, in our lymph channels, and to our lower limbs and pelvic organs. So by creating this inversion and changing the work of gravity to pulling the blood back towards our heart, then we create a healthier exchange of nutrients and waste in our body by creating this more efficient system for even just a few moments. And if we add those few moments up across a lifetime, how much we can do to take care of ourselves and help ourselves age healthily. Because that's what I want for myself and I want for everyone out there in the world. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the pose breakdown. And one last thing. With all this, aerobics can do this. By pumping your blood fast enough, it reaches those, but it is so much healthier and safer to obtain these benefits through yoga. So to do bridge pose, you can do it along with me. You just need a mat or really just a soft space to lay on. You can do this in bed, but the effects are much more better on a stable flat surface like this. So you're gonna lay onto your back with your knees bent, your feet flat at hip width apart, and your heels directly under your knees behind your sit bones here. So what you can do to feel if you can graze your heels with your hands, then you know they're pretty much close enough to your body. Okay? And so next, what you're gonna do is you're going to bend your upper arms so that your elbows are alongside your ribs and your fingers can point up with your palms facing in, okay? So that's what the arm position is going to be as we press up. So what you're gonna do is lift on an inhale. That is really important because you want to help bring that energy in to lift you up and safely expanding to the heart. So the benefits of this pose are not just for the circulatory system. We are going to be opening the heart, lengthening the quads and the hip flexors while lengthening and strengthening our spine, our glutes, and our hamstrings, okay? So this is what bridge pose is if you've waited all this time and you didn't know what it is. This is what it looks like. So you're going to lift on an inhale, pressing your feet and the sides of your upper back and the center back down, okay? So lifting your hips up, you're creating a flat plane, ideally from your shoulders to your knees with your body. All right, so your tailbone is lifting and your core is working, but you don't want to try and squeeze your glutes too much, okay? So to fight that, you want to squeeze your inner thighs towards each other in this position. And that will help keep your spine in a safe place as well, instead of allowing your knees to fall open and potentially switching around how your hips and your spine is positioned here. So squeezing that center line with your thighs, with your core, you lift here. Your arms can stay grounded. And then if you like a little bit extra action in your shoulders, we will talk about some modifications that you can do later. So some people think that this pose does look like its classic form is when you clasp your hands under your back. I personally don't do it as often because I am afraid of how people walk their shoulders under their bodies to do this. So we're going to talk about that right now. So as you lengthen your tailbone, squeezing your thighs, your arms should be able to bend so you can clasp your hands underneath here, underneath your body. And then bringing your palms closer together, you can gently walk your shoulders one walk under your body so that, your chest is getting a little extra opening here as you breathe and you hold. Now, I've seen people go like this though, and they're walking under and then they're just completely pulling their shoulders around out of joint. You really don't want to do that. That can really start to strain the front of your shoulder joint and who knows what else, okay? So you can gently pull them under such that your shoulder blades are gently pulling together to open your chest, but really don't walk under, okay? So that's just one modification you can do. Another modification that you can do is to bring a block in. So if your knees are, you notice you're lifting and your knees are splaying open, one thing that you can do is bring in your block and put it in between your knees and your thighs, like that, okay? And so when you lift, you'll know if your knees are splaying, and this will be a reminder for you to keep squeezing that block and squeezing that center line. As you lift your hips and you spread your collarbones and your heart out into the world. So this is just one thing you can do to remind yourself here. You can do this in chair pose to remind yourself to squeeze that center line. You can do this in wheel, which is the more advanced expression kind of this, without as many benefits, I probably would say, but I digress. So put a block in between you, and that will help bring yourself to that center line. If your shoulders are tight and that grabbing underneath is just not going to work for you, what you need to do is try holding a strap with your hands underneath. So once you've lifted your hips off the floor, instead of clasping your hands underneath your torso, use the strap to take your shoulder blades deeper onto your upper back. So you're holding each end of the strap about shoulder width, and then gradually moving your hands closer together, tugging on your strap and, working the outer edges of the arm underneath you, lifting your chest and spreading your collarbones. So it's just taking more time to open the chest. So starting out wide here, you can pull and you can feel that opening sensation, and then walking your hands closer. You still get that clasping bind sort of sensation, but without having to force yourself to a degree that you are not ready for. Tons of people have shoulder problems. I have gone through the worst of them, and I know how bad it is. Please promise me to take your time always. Never force a pose to happen. Okay? It will come, and you just have to keep coming back and trying. Introducing straps, blocks, whatever you can do to make the expression of the pose possible for you and work for you in the way that you need it. So, another modification to consider is if the back of your neck flattens down, like you're not able to lift it up, or if you have a neck injury, try placing a rolled up towel under the nook of your neck here. And you don't want it to be too thick to where it's lifting, but just large enough to, support the curve of your neck so that your chin will lift away from your sternum and keep your neck in a neutral alignment with your spine and safe. So that is what we want here, is to protect you, to allow you to reach into the deep benefits of this pose. So we come back to the aspect of the inversion here. So I talked about lifting, and being in an inversion for 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if you've lifted up here into this pose and you're like, oh my gosh, I am never going to be able to hold this pose for that long, do not fret. Do not expect you to. To take this into that restorative place, just bring in a block or rolled up towels if you don't have, or blankets if you don't have a block. But blocks are just perfect because they just fit. So you take it either on the medium or the low setting, and you put it across the lumbar part of your back. So as you can see, when I let my weight fall down onto the block, I'm still supported. I can still create that intrinsic action, squeezing my inner thighs, opening my heart, but now I'm able to just release here. And the fact that my heart is above my head is able to still work. And so you can bring in that towel here and support your neck, even if you don't have a neck injury. Just make yourself more comfortable. All right, and that's pretty much bridge pose. It's really beautiful, and it has a lot of great benefits for the physical and the mental body. So once we're here, it's really easy to just let the mind release. This is a simple, comfortable position where your head is grounded and your heart is lifted, and that sensations evoke something that just allows the mind to kind of slip away. And notice if your mind isn't, and that's okay. It takes practice. That's yoga. Coming back to the mat, trying again, and trying to do something great for our bodies and ourselves, because again, we only have this one, and we want it to work for as long as we can into the long, endless years of our human life. So that is my piece for all of you today. I love you all so much, and I hope to see you soon again for another pose breakdown or flow or a live class on Wednesday. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns about what we talked about today. Put it in the comment section below and I will get back to you. Otherwise, have a great day out there, and namaste, everyone.